The invisibility of whiteness works by positing a formula wherein to have race is to be non-white, and to be white is to control the conversation around who is visible and who is not.
Hi, my name is Michelle, my pronouns are she, her, and I've been a woman of colour showing her face on the internet for around 20 years now. I'm aware of the kind of comments talking about this is likely to elicit. If you want, we can save some time. I'll just assume you've said something low-key racist to me and then you don't have to actually do it, okay? Okay. Here is a clip of me speaking on a panel at UK Games Expo 2026.
So I want to hear anything about how it's hard to find people of different diverse backgrounds in this scene. I don't want to hear about how, well, we made an open call and we only got white people. Well, then go and talk to some people and let them know that you exist and be willing to hear that lesson and have that pushback. And, you know, if you're making an AP that's a bunch of white people, consider gently getting your shit together.
Within a month of that panel, I saw announcements for multiple upcoming actual plays which had all-white casts. Some of the cast members were people that I recognised as being in that panel room, laughing along with me and applauding when I said that people who make all-white actual play need to get their shit together. Apparently they thought they were some kind of special exception. They were not. I was talking to you, white person who makes actual play. You, specifically. You are not special. I'm not going to say it gently this time. If you are a white person who makes or appears in all-white actual play, you need to get your shit together.
But Michelle, I'm only playing games with my friends.
First, why are all your friends white? What's wrong with you? Second, it's great that you want to play games with your friends. Good for you, sweetie. We should play games with our friends. I do that. But actual play is an artistic medium. It's a form of entertainment, a creative endeavour. It is created for an audience. And when you make work for an audience, the choices you make in that work communicate something. Something about your worldview, your values, your politics, your opinions, your aesthetics, maybe all of these things at once even. If you want to sit down with your friends, all of whom are white for some reason, and play games together without recording it, you should do that. But that's not what you're doing, is it? You're making actual play with them. You are not owed an audience, and you are not exempt from the reality that the work you choose to put into the world with your name attached to it says something about you.
But Michelle, I tried to cast people of colour. No one applied.
Why not? What's wrong with you? Why don't any people of colour want to appear in your shows? Have you asked yourself this question? Have you made any attempts whatsoever to address the possible root causes of your inability to attract talent of colour? Have you done the work of finding performers of colour to reach out to and invite to appear on your show? And if you have worked with people of colour in the past, did they have a good enough experience working with you that they were enthusiastic to come back again? Here's a stat for you. In 2025, Euphoria Actual Play featured 70 performers, and of those, 40 were people of colour. In case you find statistics as complicated as you do the concept of basic diversity, that's more than half. But guess what? We have also cancelled some planned actual plays because we couldn't put together a diverse cast. It hasn't happened a lot, but it has happened for whatever reason. And when that happened, we cancelled the show. And every time we assessed what went wrong, we thought about how we could change our practices going forward to improve. Things like explaining our safety standards up front, being more vocal about our values as a studio, explicitly stating that performers of colour would be prioritised in casting, doing more active research to find new performers of colour that we could reach out to. And then we informed the lovely white people who were interested in the project that it wasn't going to happen this time, and we explained why. Because I'm not just sitting here talking to you about how the work you put out into the world says something about you. I also practice that philosophy with the work that I produce. I think what this video is going to say about me is that I'm kind of mean and bitter and sick of this shit. I'm okay with that.
But Michelle, why does any of this matter? I'm just a white person living in the year 2026. I shouldn't have to engage my brain over this. I need you to explain it for me.
Don't worry, baby, I got you. I know how people like you see my place in the world. Most white people have probably stopped watching by now, but you've made it this far. So, I'm going to drop this sort of weird condescending character I've been playing and explain some things now, as a treat. So here's the thing. As I've alluded to, actual play is a form of media. Your show may only have a few dozen people in its audience, but that doesn't change the fact that you are creating media when you create actual play. And what we observe in the media we watch, listen to, read, or otherwise engage with shapes our perceptions of the world. When you only see white people playing TTRPGs, it might give you the notion, completely divorced from reality, that only white people play TTRPGs, and that there's nothing unusual or insular about only having white friends to play TTRPGs with you. And that kind of thinking might lead you to get upset when someone who looks like me and plays TTRPGs several times a week says something like, "Why are all your friends white? What's wrong with you?" You might think,
There's nothing wrong with me. It's normal to only have white friends. All the people I watch online only have white friends.
hey, it's not normal. Even if you live in a geographical area which is very ethnically homogenous, the internet exists. And I know you know that because you're on it right now. We, people of colour, with our endless complexities and breadth of lived experiences, are the global majority. Media which reinforces the idea that we're a minority warps people's sense of reality, and it soothes them into upholding the very power structures that got us into this mess in the first place. In the opening few paragraphs of her article, Power in the Visual, examining narratives of controlling Black bodies in contemporary gaming, Kishonna L. Gray, PhD, writes the following.
Media portrayals offer singular visions of marginalized lives, behaviors, and roles within society. Specifically, Blackness is consistently underrepresented and/or misrepresented across various media. Conflicting constructions of Blackness only serve to reify who is and who is not eligible for full inclusion into humanity.
While Dr. Gray is speaking specifically to experiences of Blackness here, she mentions that this phenomenon applies to marginalized peoples in a general sense. What we see in media affects our perceptions of reality. It affects how people who only have white friends conceive of people of colour, and in turn how they treat people of colour. This is not a hypothetical, it is an observable reality documented by academic scholars. When you create all-white actual play, you are contributing to the media landscape which serves to reify who is and who is not eligible for full inclusion into humanity. Here's another thing. Art that only presents the perspective of the white hegemony is worse than art that presents perspectives which challenge said hegemony. To put it another way, good art speaks truth to power. How can you do that if your art reinforces extant power structures? And if your answer to this is that you're not trying to make good art, you're just having fun with your friends, I refer you to earlier in the video. We already talked about this, pay attention. If the people with whom you make actual play all have comparable lived experiences to you, the stories you tell will lack depth and texture. If the people with whom you make actual play are all white, the stories you tell will sit within a society that grants the most power to white people and will do nothing to subvert it. Your actual play will be bad. To quote Dr. Gray again,
Stories are not just quaint tales, but claims about the truth of existence.
what truth are you claiming with your homogenous white cast? And while we're here, I'll also mention that having one token person of colour in your cast isn't good enough either. I see you doing one step above the bare minimum and patting yourself on the back. Try harder than that. There is a difference between including a person of colour in a token role and cultivating an environment wherein people of colour have true agency and co-creation. In his ethnography of gaming communities in North America, delightfully titled, I Piss People Off When I Play Dwarves Like Dwarves, Race, Gender, and Critical Systems in Tabletop Role-Playing Games, Antero Garcia notes various ways in which
cultural values, including racism and sexism, shaped player experiences at the table.
Garcia concludes,
while games speak to broad possibilities for exploring race and gender, these constructs became limited through the layers of player beliefs, designed rule sets, and depictions within narratives. The emancipatory possibilities of athletic imagination are flattened by cultural norms that may oppress.
I don't think I'm introducing anyone to a new concept when I say that all of us have biases and beliefs shaped by the cultural forces surrounding us. Reading Garcia's study, the people observed and quoted seemed like lovely, thoughtful, welcoming folks, but their biases still showed up in how they portrayed and related to people with lived experiences different from their own. No matter how hard we try, the systemic oppression that infects the back of our minds will impact how we behave at the gaming table. Someone who is well informed about biases, even someone who experiences other forms of marginalization, can still do harm, which means that when you bring one token person of color into an all-white table, you're putting them into a position in which they must be prepared to be othered. Don't do that. Remember that quote from the beginning of the video?
To be white is to control the conversation around who is visible and who is not.
Does that make you feel powerful? It should. I can make myself visible. Hi! I can also help to make other people visible, and I do on this channel. But I cannot control the conversation. I can only add to it. Will you listen to what I've said here and change your practices going forward? Will you commit to only appearing in actual play that has a minimum of 2 people of color in the cast? Or will you keep making actual play that's bad? This is the part of the video where usually the speaker encourages people to get in the comments and share their thoughts. If you're of the global majority, please do so. But if you're white, I actually don't want you to comment on this video. I have literally no interest in what you have to say. Some of you still will, I know, but I won't be reading or engaging with you. Just like you should not be watching, listening to, supporting, or engaging with all white actual play, if you have any sense of solidarity at all. Thanks for watching!